Before we enter this moment of prayer, take a breath and allow your heart to slow down. This is not just another routine. This is a sacred pause where your soul reconnects with the voice of God. Every transformation in life begins when your spirit aligns with His truth. Long before doors open, before answers appear, before miracles manifest, God is already shaping your inner world. Today is not a repetition of yesterday. It is a new spiritual beginning. The weight of past mistakes, the pressure of unfinished stories, and the fear of uncertain outcomes do not have permission to rule this moment. Right now, God is inviting you into something deeper than requests and expectations. He is inviting you into awareness that He is near, attentive and actively working in ways you cannot yet see. The Word of God reminds us that His love does not run out, His compassion does not fade, and His mercy does not expire. Each morning carries a fresh portion of grace. That means your story is not defined by what failed yesterday, but by what God is building today. You are not standing in ruins. You are standing at the edge of renewal. Let this truth settle inside you. Before you speak a single prayer, God has already chosen mercy over judgment. Before you ask Him to move, He has already begun to move. Before you feel strong enough to believe, He is already strengthening your faith from within. This moment is not accidental. It is an invitation to start again with a heart anchored in His presence. As you continue in this prayer, allow your heart to rise above what your eyes can see. There is something invisible surrounding your life right now. Not coincidence, not luck, not human approval, but divine favor. Favor is not the absence of battles. Favor is the presence of God in the middle of them. It is the unseen shield that protects you when circumstances try to overwhelm you. You may have wondered why certain doors opened when logic said they should remain closed. You may have received opportunities you felt unqualified for, strength you did not think you had, or answers that arrived at the exact right time. These were not accidents. They were signs that God's favor has been speaking on your behalf long before you recognized it. Favor does not remove resistance, but it prevents resistance from defining your destiny. When God surrounds you with favor, opposition loses its power, limitations lose their authority, and fear loses its voice. You begin to walk with a confidence that is not rooted in your abilities, but in His presence. Even when your effort feels small, His favor makes it significant. Even when your steps feel uncertain, His favor stabilizes your path. Even when your past tries to accuse you, His favor reminds you that your future is still open. You are not walking alone into this day. You are walking covered, guided, and protected by something far greater than your understanding. Let your spirit embrace this truth. Before you ask God to open doors, He has already surrounded you with the grace needed to walk through them. As you move deeper into this prayer, release the pressure to control everything. There are doors in your life that no effort, no strategy, and no human connection could ever open. Only God holds the keys to those doors. And when He decides to open them, no voice, no system, no circumstance has the power to shut them. Sometimes we spend so much energy trying to force outcomes that were never meant to be forced. But God does not work through anxiety. He works through alignment. When He opens a door, it is not fragile, it is secure, it is intentional, it is timed with precision. And when He closes a door, it is not rejection, it is protection. Think about the doors that never opened in your past. The opportunities that slipped away, the relationships that ended, the paths that collapsed unexpectedly. What if those moments were not losses, but divine interventions? What if God was quietly redirecting you away from what would have harmed your purpose? Today, you do not need to beg God to act. You need to trust that He is already acting. You do not need to push doors that are not meant for you. You need to prepare your heart to walk confidently through the doors He is about to open. Let this truth calm your spirit. What God opens cannot be blocked, and what He blocks is often saving you from something you could not see. As you continue this prayer, remember something powerful. God's favor is not limited by location, circumstance, or condition. You do not have to escape the hard place for God to move. Sometimes the very place that feels like confinement becomes the stage for divine promotion. There are seasons when life feels restricted, delayed, or unfair. You may feel stuck in situations you did not choose, surrounded by limitations you did not expect. But God does not wait for perfect conditions to release His favor. He releases it in imperfect places, in hidden moments, and in environments that seem unlikely to produce miracles. Even when you feel unseen, God sees you. Even when you feel forgotten, God remembers you. Even when you feel trapped, God is preparing a way forward. The pressure you feel today is not proof of abandonment. It may be evidence of preparation. Sometimes God allows you to walk through narrow places because He is shaping your character, strengthening your spirit, and expanding your capacity to carry what is coming. The place that feels like a prison can become a place of transformation. The season that feels like delay can become a season of acceleration. Hold this truth in your heart. Your current situation does not define your final destination. God can lift you where you stand, bless you where you are, and reveal His favor in the very environment that seems impossible. As you move forward in this prayer, let your heart rest in this truth. You are not walking into this day alone. God is already ahead of you. Before you face any challenge, He has already seen it. Before you encounter any obstacle, He has already prepared a way through it. There are barriers in life that feel too strong, too heavy, too permanent. Some doors seem sealed by circumstances, by history, or by fear. But God specializes in breaking what appears unbreakable. What looks like resistance to you is not resistance to Him. What feels impossible to you is simply a stage for His power. God does not ask you to fight every battle by yourself. He promises to intervene, to dismantle obstacles, and to open paths where none seem to exist. The struggles you face today are not signs that you are losing. They are signs that God is positioning you for breakthrough. Behind the barriers you see, there are blessings you have not yet imagined. Behind the closed doors you fear, there are opportunities God has already prepared. Sometimes God allows you to see the wall so that you can recognize the miracle when it falls. So today, release the burden of trying to solve everything alone. Trust that God is moving ahead of you, clearing the path and unlocking doors that you could never open by your own strength. As this prayer continues, allow your faith to rise higher than your fears. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It is the decision to trust God even when your emotions hesitate. There are moments when your heart feels strong and moments when it feels fragile. But faith is not built on feelings. Faith is built on truth. Today, you are choosing to believe before you see. You are choosing to trust before you understand. You are choosing to hope even when the path ahead feels unclear. This choice is not weakness. It is spiritual courage. Fear often speaks loudly, trying to convince you that delay means denial, that silence means absence, and that struggle means defeat. But God's silence is not abandonment. It is preparation. His delay is not rejection. It is alignment. And your struggle is not proof of failure. It is evidence that something valuable is being formed within you. When your mind feels overwhelmed, let your spirit remind you that God is still in control. When your heart feels tired, let your soul remember that God has not forgotten your story. When your thoughts begin to spiral, anchor them in the certainty that God's promises do not collapse under pressure. Today, you are not reacting to life. You are responding with faith. You are not allowing anxiety to write your story. You are allowing God to rewrite it with hope. And as long as your faith remains alive, your miracle remains possible. As you move further into this prayer, understand that faith is not only something you feel, it is something you live. True faith expresses itself through action, courage, and obedience. God does not open doors so you can admire them from a distance. He opens doors so you can walk through them with boldness. There are moments when God whispers direction instead of shouting it. Sometimes His guidance comes quietly, gently, almost imperceptibly. But those quiet nudges often carry the weight of destiny. The challenge is not hearing God. The challenge is responding without hesitation. Today, God is inviting you to move forward, not backward. To step out, not shrink back, to trust His leading even when the path feels unfamiliar. Obedience is not about perfection, it is about willingness. Courage is not about fearlessness, it is about moving despite fear. When God opens a door, do not question whether you deserve it. When He calls you, do not delay because of insecurity. When He leads you, do not wait for certainty to replace faith. Step forward with confidence, knowing that heaven supports every step aligned with His will. Your obedience today may be the key that unlocks the miracle you have been praying for. Your courage may be the answer to prayers you thought were still unanswered, and your willingness may be the bridge between where you are and where God is leading you. As this prayer continues, let your soul rest under the shelter of God's peace, not the fragile peace that depends on circumstances, but the supernatural peace that flows from His presence. This peace does not deny problems. It stabilizes your heart in the middle of them. When the world tries to pull your mind in 1,000 directions, God's peace gathers your thoughts back into clarity. When anxiety tries to dominate your emotions, His presence gently restores balance. Today you are not governed by chaos, you are guided by peace. Along with peace, God releases wisdom, wisdom that is sharper than impulse, deeper than emotion, and stronger than pressure. Wisdom helps you discern which opportunities are divine and which are distractions. It teaches you when to move and when to wait, when to speak, and when to remain silent. Many doors appear attractive, but not every open door is sent by God. Some doors are tests disguised as blessings. That is why discernment is essential. God does not only open doors, He teaches you how to recognize the right ones. Today, ask God not only for answers, but for clarity. Not only for breakthroughs, but for understanding. Not only for movement, but for direction. Let His wisdom shape your decisions, His peace guard your heart, and His voice guide your steps. As this prayer reaches deeper into your spirit, shift your posture from waiting to expecting. Expectation is not optimism, it is faith in motion. It is the inner conviction that God is already working, even when evidence is not yet visible. Today you are not waking up to survive the day. You are waking up to witness what God is about to do. You are not trapped in old cycles. You are stepping into new possibilities. Your past does not have the final word. God's purpose does. When you expect good, you begin to notice what fear would have ignored. When your heart is awake, you perceive the subtle movements of heaven. Small changes, quiet answers, unexpected peace, gentle opportunities. These are not coincidences. They are signals that God is moving beneath the surface. Now speak with boldness. Do not whisper your faith. Declare it. Words shape atmospheres. Faith expressed aloud strengthens your spirit. Today, declare that doors are opening, strength is rising, clarity is coming, and favor is surrounding your life. You are not declaring fantasies. You are aligning your words with God's promises. When your declarations meet His will, heaven responds. So today, speak life over your journey. Speak hope over your future. Speak courage over your fears. Speak faith over your doubts. Because when your voice agrees with God's truth, your reality begins to shift. As this prayer comes to its final moments, remember this truth. The miracle does not always begin when circumstances change. Often it begins when your heart changes, when fear gives way to trust, when heaviness gives way to hope, when uncertainty gives way to faith. Today, you are not standing before closed doors alone. God is with you. He is guiding your steps, strengthening your spirit, and aligning your path with His purpose. You are not forgotten. You are not delayed. You are being prepared. Every prayer you lifted today was heard. Every silent tear was noticed. Every quiet battle was seen. God is not distant from your struggles. He is present in them. And His presence is the greatest guarantee that your story is still unfolding. Walk into this day with confidence, not in your own strength, but in the God who never abandons His children. Walk with humility, knowing He is guiding you. Walk with expectation, believing He is preparing something beyond what you imagined. Do not underestimate the power of your posture today. When you walk with faith, heaven responds. When you speak with hope, Your spirit rises. When you trust God, doors begin to move. So step forward, believe boldly, pray continually, and remember, what God opens, no one can shut. What He begins, no one can stop. And what He promised, He will surely fulfill. Before you leave this moment of prayer, take a second to let these words settle deep in your spirit. What you felt here today was not accidental. God was speaking to you, strengthening your heart, and reminding you that He is still working in your life, even in ways you cannot yet see. If this prayer touched your heart, I invite you to become part of this journey. Subscribe to Faith Daily Reflections because every day we share messages that renew your faith, restore your hope, and align your spirit with God's purpose. Tomorrow, a new message will be waiting for you. A word that will lift your soul, bring clarity to your path, and remind you that God is opening doors you never imagined. Do not stop here. Continue watching the next videos on this channel and allow God to speak to you again. Each message is a seed planted in your spirit, and every seed will produce a harvest in the right time. And I release a prophetic word over your life today. The season of delay is ending, and the season of divine acceleration is beginning. What once felt blocked will start to move. What once felt heavy will become lighter. Doors that seemed impossible to open will begin to shift. God is not only preparing the miracle, He is preparing you to walk into it with courage, wisdom, and peace. If you receive this word, write in the comments what God spoke to your heart today. Declare your faith. Share what you are believing for. Your testimony may strengthen someone else who is waiting for the same breakthrough. Stay connected, stay expectant, and remember, God is already opening the doors you prayed for.